Our MC Jinbo Yuki and his sister Jinbo Yui are facing tough moments with the press over the scandal involving their father, a former police officer. They can't even leave their own house without the press blocking them and asking them irrational questions. Bloggers, journalists, and the like are having a field day with Yui and Yuki. Standing in front of the press, the two siblings are told to apologize for what their father did. One of the journalists even asks a very harsh question about whether their father is having adult relations with Yui. Yui cannot take the insult and angrily leaves the scene while Yuki stays back. He bows his head, apologizing for whatever it is their father did. Yuki is mad at his father for making him go through such an embarrassing moment when he didn't do anything wrong. The media, streamers, and even magazines do not mind taking advantage of kids like Yuki and Yui for their own gain. Because of the entire problem, there is nothing left for Yuki or Yui. There is also nowhere for them to fit into society. In addition to this, Yuki is getting bullied by a bunch of guys. They are using his father's scandal to take advantage of his weak nature. All Yuki can think of when getting beaten up is how he didn't do anything, but he is always suffering. He questions his fate, wondering why he has to go through stuff like this. Whenever the bullies are having a field day with him, they hold his head and show him images of his father holding the girl he was found with. The worst of the bunch is the leader of the bullies, Akira. Akira tells Yuki that he is going to become their personal toy since he doesn't have money to give them. Yuki can only wonder if he is going to die by being a toy for someone's entertainment for the rest of his life. Yuki can only watch as the delinquents beat him like trash and leave, while also letting him know that they will be back soon. Yuki wishes that there was a way for him to reverse the garbage situation he has found himself in. Suddenly, he sees a status screen in front of him, revealing that he has been chosen as the host of Tushin Bandit. Yuki is left wondering what this means as he makes his way home. In his mind, he believes that it is some sort of game thing. When he gets home, his sister is holding a bunch of scandalous letters in her hand. Yuki tries to comfort his sister by telling her that he is going to make dinner for them. Yuki is left to wonder just when everything will end because he doesn't think his sister has more in her to endure the pain. Yuki remembers that things were not always like this because after their mother died, their father raised them by himself. His father was always there to pick him up whenever he wanted to break down, and even though they were not rich, they were happy by supporting each other. Yuki's father was a detective and he wasn't always around because of his work. However, Yuki looked up to his father as his role model until that scandalous image started spreading on social media. And from there, his father went mad. He was always in his room talking to himself, insisting that he didn't do what he was accused of doing. Even when they want to serve him dinner, he slaps the plate off the table while saying he is innocent. Yuki always tries to calm him down, but he has gone over the edge. Yui is scared about everything that is happening, and this has left her traumatized. Yuki wants to believe that his father is innocent since all he keeps saying is that he didn't do it. Yui, on the other hand, doesn't believe her father. She also doesn't want Yuki to believe him, saying their father has gone crazy and they shouldn't believe the words of a crazy man. Yuki is still trying to comfort his sister when one of the delinquents shows up at his door, telling him that they want to play with him. Yuki reminds them that it is late already, but the delinquent shows Yuki a video of where he is getting beaten up, and he threatens to post it if Yuki doesn't do what he wants. The delinquent then takes Yuki to a private place where he can treat him the way he wants. Yuki tries telling the guy that he has already suffered enough for the day, but the next thing that Yuki sees is a punch landing on his face. The delinquent kicks Yuki to the floor, telling him that he has no right to refuse whatever it is that he plans to do to him. Yuki begs the delinquent, telling him that he is not being rebellious, but the delinquent replies that a toy like Yuki doesn't have the right to make excuses. The bad guy lets Yuki know that he is going to play with him forever, and because Yuki tries to plead, the bad guy angrily packs sand and shoves it into Yuki's mouth. This causes Yuki so much pain that it activates the status screen from before. The system offers him a chance to change his life with abilities. Yuki coughs up sand while thinking there is no way for him to change things. The system then tells him that he can't change things because he is weak-willed and he has the habit of running away. Yuki then asks what he is supposed to do, and the system displays two options in front of him. He is asked to choose whether he wants power or not. Yuki realizes that with the way things are going, he is going to get mocked like this forever. He is ready to take a chance at having abilities if they really exist. Frustrated, Yuki agrees to have the power. Immediately, the status screen changes, and it displays the first set of powers that Yuki has gained, which is his ability to steal the status of people in his field of vision, and he can do this to one person per day. With this new development, Yuki believes that his season of being a toy is over. The name of the ability skill he just gained is Talent Theft, and with this, he can steal the status of people in his field of vision, but it is limited to just one person a day. With this, Yuki stands up, telling the delinquent to come at him. Yuki is finally ready to change his fate and destiny. The delinquent is surprised to see Yuki acting all tough, and he angrily asks him who he thinks he is talking to. The status screen then calculates, showing him what his current stats are. For his combat power, he is ranked F. For his power, he is ranked F. For his defense, he is ranked E. For his agility, he is ranked D. And for his insight charisma, he is ranked F. Yuki is shocked to see how weak his stats are. Just when he wants to take a look at the delinquent's status, he gets punched in the mouth. Yuki falls to the ground with the bad guy standing above him. Yuki manages to see the guy's status and realizes that he is better than him. For his combat power, the guy is ranked D. For his defense, he is ranked C. For his power, he is ranked B. For his agility, he is ranked E. And for his insight charisma, he is ranked E. Yuki comes to the realization that the delinquent is way higher than him when it comes to stats. The delinquent continues beating Yuki up until the status screen shows him the way to activate his ability. The only way Yuki can activate the talent theft ability is to touch the opponent with his palm. The delinquent beats Yuki up and sits on him like he is nothing. He still goes as far as showing Yuki a video of his sister getting trashed too. This hurts Yuki as he tries telling the bad guy beating him that his sister has nothing to do with what is going on. The bad guy laughs at Yuki, telling him that what he and his sister are going through is a family problem, which makes it their collective responsibility. He then tells Yuki to apologize, promising to forgive him. The delinquent continues to say trash to Yuki, even pushing him to call himself scum. Yuki cannot help but wonder if his life is no longer his own but the society's. He refuses to accept this reality, and he ends up touching the delinquent. By this, he activates the skill, talent theft. Immediately, Yuki throws a punch at the guy's face. Yuki's stats have successfully switched with those of the delinquent. The bad guy is shocked that Yuki has suddenly grown the confidence to hit him. Yuki even urges him to come after him. Before he knows what is happening, he gets punched over and over again. Yuki lands several hits on the guy before finishing the combo with a kick to the stomach. The delinquent cannot believe what is happening to him, but Yuki is not finished with him yet. Yuki delivers a new set of punches to the guy's face, leaving him utterly disfigured. Once the guy is knocked out from too much punishment from Yuki, the status screen appears in front of him again. This time, the screen tells him that a new quest has been unlocked. Yuki is confused, as he doesn't know the meaning of having a new quest. The system further informs Yuki that he is going to be rewarded with another ability called the Endless Fighting Spirit once he is able to complete the quest. And talking about the quest, the system gives Yuki the task of exposing his father's truth. After Yuki is done with the delinquent, he starts heading home. On his way home, he gets the information that every human has what is called status, and Yuki can steal it by just touching them with his hand. In addition to this, Yuki will be rewarded with abilities every time he clears certain conditions. He stares at the ability chart to find out that there are a bunch of abilities, and with his new power, he might just be able to escape his life of hell. However, Yuki is worried about his next quest as he doesn't know what his father's truth is. Yuki comes to the conclusion that he has no choice but to ask his father himself. He arrives home to find everything quiet, but he finds strong wine pouring out of his father's room. Yuki opens the door to a horrifying view of his father strung to the wall. The man had unalived himself after drinking, and Yuki screams out in pain and terror. This shows Yuki how easy it is for a family to be destroyed. Soon afterward, Yuki and Yui's father is buried. The only thing Yuki kept from his father was his ring. The funeral home is practically empty, with just a few people attending the burial of the disgraced cop. Yuki can only question why his father had to unalive himself. The only friend that Yuki has comes to pay his condolences, and his name is Jinta. Jinta assures Yuki that he will be waiting for him at school. Jinta spots the ring with Yuki, and he asks about it. Yuki then reveals that it is his father's wedding ring, and he is holding on to it like a keepsake. Still in the funeral home, Yuki can already hear people talking trash about his father. They believe that Yuki's father is guilty, which is why he unalived himself. Jinta comforts Yuki, telling him not to worry because once someone dies, people say whatever they want about the deceased. Yuki then remembers the task he was given to expose his father's truth. However, Yuki believes that there is no truth about the incident that needs to be exposed. To make things worse, one of the delinquents shows up at the funeral. Yuki cannot believe that he is not even given a day off to mourn his father. He screams at the guy, asking him why he has come to the funeral, but the guy only laughs, telling him to look outside. Standing outside are a bunch of media people ready to harass Yuki, as they have always done. Yuki wonders how the reporters are able to find out where the funeral is being held, but it quickly dawns on him that the delinquent leaked the information. Yuki stares at the guy, asking him how far he is willing to go. The delinquent then calls Yuki's attention to the fact that his sister is getting swarmed by the media guys. The media guys scream at Yui, asking her if her father is guilty of the allegations against him, which is why he sent himself to the afterlife. Yui finds it hard to say something, but her brother quickly swoops in, telling the media guys to back away. In pain, Yui asks what more the people want from orphans like them. However, the crowd only plays on this, maintaining the fact that the children's father was guilty. Yui finally breaks, telling her brother that she can no longer take it. She backs off and walks into the building. The crowd then uses this to their advantage yet again. They scream at Yui, telling her that her father was guilty, and this is why she is running away. Yuki also leaves the crowd, and he heads inside to talk to his sister. Yuki asks Yui if she is alright, and she comes clean, saying she is not. Yui is now fully convinced that their father is guilty of the allegations leveled against him. Yuki is shocked to hear this as he tries to understand what his sister is saying. In anger, Yui reveals that she is relieved that their father is dead. Yuki is disappointed to hear this, reminding his sister that their father kept denying the allegations. However, Yui doesn't want to believe that their father is innocent because he sent himself to the afterlife. Yui then asks Yuki if he believes that their father is innocent. Even Yuki finds it hard to answer the question, and this is when the task to expose his father's truth appears in front of him again. Because of this, Yuki wants to have some level of belief that his father is innocent. Yuki leaves the funeral home, thinking of clues to the truth. As he walks down the street, he hears the delinquents talking in the distance. They are making fun of him and his dead father. To get a better clue of what they are saying, he stands behind cover to hear them. Just then, Yuki hears the delinquents talking about how their boss, Akira, fabricated the scandals against Yuki's father. This shocks Yuki down to his bones as everything that has happened to his family because of the scandal flashed through his head. This immediately tells Yuki the simple truth that his father is not guilty. Yuki then comes out from where he is hiding, and he asks the delinquents what Akira did. The delinquents are surprised that Yuki has been listening to them. They try to act confused as if they don't know what Yuki is talking about. Yuki stands in front of the guys in a fighting pose. However, he is worried that he is about to go against two guys. Yuki realizes that even if he steals the power from one of them, he still has the other guy to deal with. To make things worse, he can only steal from one of them. Even though he is at a disadvantage, Yuki decides to proceed. He lunges at the delinquents, and just as the first guy throws a punch at him, he slides under him to dodge the blow. In the process, Yuki touches the guy, stealing his ability in the process. Yuki then lands a punch on the first delinquent, but before he gets the chance to pull himself together, the other guy hits him from behind. This hurts Yuki, forcing him to back off a bit. Just as he expected, it is hard for him to fight two people at once. Just while he is thinking of what to do, the first delinquent hits Yuki in the head with a brick. Yuki crashes to the ground in pain with blood gushing out of his head. The delinquents then stand above Yuki, making fun of him and reminding him that he will always be their toy to play with. Yuki is disappointed that he lost to the guys, and slowly, his consciousness starts to fade. However, Yuki manages to stay awake. He grabs the first delinquent, asking him what they did to his father. Arrogantly, the delinquent tells him that his father had adult crimes fabricated against him by Akira. This then confirms the fact that his father was innocent. In the end, this is his father's truth that he didn't know. Just as Yuki is about to lose consciousness, the system grants him the endless fighting spirit. With this new skill, Yuki gets the determination to stay awake. He holds onto his father's ring, and he stands back up, shocking the delinquents, who thought they had taken care of Yuki. The system then tells Yuki that he can use the endless fighting spirit to steal people's status consecutively. Looking more determined than before, Yuki tells the guys that he is going to make them pay. In a flashback, Yuki's father caught Akira and his gang trading hard substances. Yuki's father has been trying to find out who was distributing substances at the school, and when he found Akira and his gang, he didn't hold back. Akira tries attacking him, but he dodges and restrains him, placing him under arrest. While in the cell, Akira realizes that Yuki's father is bad for business, and he needs to go. In the underworld, Akira is respected, and when he means to get rid of someone, it is done. Akira put his boys up to the task of taking the cop off the chessboard. The delinquents approached another high school girl of their age and threatened her into doing what they wanted. They have bad videos of her, and they threaten to spread the videos if she doesn't do their bidding. She has no choice but to follow whatever the dudes say. With her uniform torn, the girl approaches Yuki's dad. Since the man is a police officer, she holds him, begging him to help her. She claims that her boyfriend made her drink something weird, and Yuki's dad, being a kind man, agrees to help the girl. Hearing that the girl was under the influence of hard substances that he so much hates, he decides to follow the girl so that he can investigate. The girl then holds his arm while standing very close to him. Unknown to the detective, he is being watched, and videos of him and the schoolgirl are being recorded. Once the video was acquired, it was sent to Akira, who immediately posted it online to ruin the detective's career. After Yuki is done hearing all of these from the delinquents, he gets mad. He is even madder with the fact that the delinquents are not sorry for what they did. Yuki stares at the two with so much hatred that they even notice it. However, he knows that he needs to be careful since he is going up against two people. Yuki knows that even if he steals attack power and his defense is weak, it is going to be meaningless against the bad guys. Yuki then figures out the next thing on his list to steal. He concludes that instead of raising his attack power, he needs to weaken his opponent's defense power. One of the bad guys throws a punch at him, but he easily blocks it, and he activates the Endless Fighting Spirit skill. He immediately depletes the enemy's defense power, and with this, he lands a devastating blow that sends the enemy flying. With this, Yuki has successfully taken down one of the delinquents. The other one is crippled with fear as he looks at his partner, completely knocked out on the ground. Yuki then turns his attention to the remaining delinquent. Realizing how fugged he is, he falls to his knees and starts begging Yuki. He begs Yuki to forgive him, but Yuki cannot believe that the guy is asking for forgiveness. Since there is no way for his father to come back, no matter how much he begs, Yuki doesn't care. Yuki grabs the delinquent's head and lets him know that there is nothing he will ever do to atone for his sins. The delinquent realizes that he is in danger, and he starts calling for help, but unfortunately, there is no one around to help him. With force, Yuki grabs his head and smashes it into the ground. Just then, Yuki is given another mission, which is to publicly declare the truth. The reward for this mission is another skill called Ability Borrowing. The system informs Yuki that once he clears the conditions for the task, he will be granted the ability to borrow a skill. For this skill, he can temporarily steal his opponent's skills. In addition to this, his opponent temporarily loses skill, and Yuki also can't use other abilities. Yuki then remembers that Akira is the root of everything that has happened so far. His father was innocent, but fell to Akira's deceit. Yuki gets mad, promising to make Akira publicly declare the truth. Meanwhile, in school, Akira is waiting for his boys to return, but little does he know that they are not. Jinta tells Akira that he is in his seat, but Akira couldn't care less. Jinta immediately backs off, asking Akira to forgive him. Yuki enters the classroom in the midst of this. Yuki screams Akira's name, leaving the guy to wonder what is wrong with Yuki. Yuki asks Akira if he knows about his father, and Akira doesn't miss the chance to troll Yuki, calling his father a stupid detective. Yuki then raises his hand, ready to fight Akira. Jinta is shocked to see this, and even Akira himself is shocked. Jinta stands in front of Yuki, trying to defend him from doing something stupid. Jinta tries to tell him not to start a fight, but Yuki insists that he needs to. Akira laughs when he hears this, reminding Yuki that he is not the type to fight. Jinta tries talking sense into Yuki, but Yuki declares that he is not just fighting Akira, but at the same time, he is taking revenge. Jinta is left shocked by this, but Akira already understands. Yuki then decides to check Akira's stats, and he is shocked by what he sees. Akira's attack power is ranked S, and the same goes for his defense power. When it comes to his agility, he is ranked A. His insight is D, and his charisma is ranked C. Akira makes fun of Yuki, telling him that it was his father's decision to end it all, claiming that he has nothing to do with it. This only makes Yuki even madder, and he lets Akira know that he is the reason his father is dead. Yuki tells Akira that he is going to make him admit the truth no matter how strong he is. With this, he charges toward Akira, ready to fight him with everything he has. Charging toward Akira, Yuki remembered how his life had been happy and peaceful. He usually wakes up late, while his sister wakes up early to prepare food for them. Yuki and Yui were so close that all they did was shout to get on each other's nerves. Even their father, who always comes back home in the morning, manages to eat breakfast with his children. Eating breakfast together was a rule in the family, and whenever Yui's father complimented her cooking, Yuki still made fun of her cooking skills. In addition to this, the trio pays respect to their mother every morning. Remembering everything, Yuki realizes that Akira was the one who took everything from him. He tries hitting Akira, but he dodges. Yuki then quickly relies on his skill, and he tries to steal Akira's power. However, Yuki is shocked to see that what he just did didn't work. Akira laughs at Yuki, telling him that he needs more entertainment from him. This makes Yuki mad, and he makes another daring run to steal Akira's power. He lunges at him and holds him tight, leaving Akira to wonder why Yuki is holding on to him. Still holding on, Yuki activates the theft skill, but to his surprise, he is denied. This leaves him in shock, and just then, the system tells him that he can't use his talent theft and the endless fighting spirit skill on fellow skill holders. While he is still trying to figure this out, Akira throws a punch to his face, sending him across the room. All Yuki can ask is why the skill didn't work on Akira. Akira laughs at him as it seems he has realized what is going on, but Yuki remains clueless, and he just continues to question the reality of things. Akira then laughs at Yuki and mentions the fact that they both have abilities. Akira's ability allows him to release potential and raise status to maximum. Akira lets him know that he can't steal his status unless he steals the ability itself. Yuki is sent into a state of shock when it dawns on him that there are others who have abilities just like he does. Akira doesn't hold back as he jumps at Yuki. hitting him while he is busy questioning everything. Yuki screams in pain while wondering why he wasn't informed about other ability users. Yuki falls to his knees and coughs up blood, but Akira is not done with him just yet. Akira laughs as he grabs Yuki and throws him across the room, destroying some chairs and tables in the process. Yuki manages to stand back up, and he holds his head to see that he is bleeding. He is now freaking out as he tries to figure out a way out of the problem. He looks at his hand to see that he is losing so much blood already. Akira tells Yuki that he is disappointed in the type of abilities that he has. Akira is not entertained to the extent that he wants, and he adds that Yuki will always be weak. He also reminds Yuki that he is nothing but a toy. Yuki can only groan in pain as his father's image flashes before his eyes. Everything that has happened was because of Akira, but he still could not get the better of the one who took his father away from him. Jinta moves over to where Yuki is and tries to comfort him. Yuki is frustrated already, but more desperate. He is ready to do anything as long as it means he is going to defeat Akira. Yuki wants another ability so bad, and as he thinks of this, he reaches for his father's ring lying on the floor. Just then, Yuki sees an image of Tushin Bandit, telling him not to be impatient. He assures Yuki that he is going to get the right abilities to help him soon. Yuki wakes up in his bed with his sister standing beside him. His sister tells him that Jinta was the one who brought him home. Yui already learned that Yuki got into a fight in school. Yui steps out to get something, leaving Yuki to think over how he lost to Akira. He remembers that Akira is an ability user just like him, and this is why he couldn't defeat him, just like his underlings. Yuki takes a look at the ability chart, where he sees that there are other abilities. He figures out that if he can use other abilities, he might get the chance to win. One particular ability called the ability borrowing catches his eyes, and he believes that this might be his way to win. He won't be able to steal status with the skill, but he can steal the abilities themselves. The only way he can get this skill is to clear the condition that he was given, which is publicly declaring the truth. With this skill, Yuki is confident that he can reach Akira. However, he still doesn't know how to go about the task that he was given. Just then, he hears one annoying streamer disturbing his sister. He holds a camera to Yui's face while streaming everything to his viewers. There are multiple comments on the stream, condemning Yui and her family. Yuki then steps in, saving his sister from the streamer. He grabs the streamer's hand, telling him to back off since their father is already dead. The annoying streamer refuses to read the room as he continues to get on Yuki's nerves. Because Yuki held him, he decides to turn the camera to his face, demanding that Yuki tender an official apology. On the stream, the viewers are leaving hate comments, blaming Yui and Yuki for whatever it is that their father did. Yui is left in tears as she wonders if this is how they are going to continue living. Out of anger, Yuki angrily grabs the streamer's phone to tell the viewers that his father never committed adult crimes. Yuki further adds that his family are the actual victim. This shocks the streamer and even Yui. Yuki then continues with what he is saying as he lets the viewers know that his father was falsely accused, which then led to his death. Just then, the system tells him that he has acquired the skill, ability borrowing. Yuki is shocked, but then he remembers the conditions to acquire the ability. He realizes that the statement he made was what cleared the quest. Trying to satisfy his viewers, the streamer promises to punish Yuki, who is now termed a liar. He brandishes a knife, leaving Yuki scared. Yuki cannot believe how brave those who torment them have become. The streamer practically doesn't care about consequences, which is why he is brandishing a knife. However, Yuki doesn't see the streamer as a threat because he is weak. The highest rank on his stat list is E. Because of this, Yuki decides that he is not going to use his abilities. He stands on business and hits the guy on the head, forcing him to drop the knife he is holding. Yuki then holds his sister so that they can go back home. Yuki wonders just how many times he needs to fight. Suddenly, another delinquent appears before Yuki, asking him if he is Yuki just to confirm. There is a purple aura surrounding the guy, and he seems to be an ability user too. He activates his ability called the Panicking World. Immediately, the guy activates his ability, and Yuki feels like chains are holding him down to where he is. The thug explains that his ability is an interesting one because it invokes fear and emotions in people within a certain range. Due to this, those who are affected cannot move. The thug then grabs Yui since she is his target. He salivates like a mad dog while holding Yui. Yuki screams at him to stop, but there is nothing he can do. Just then, the thug knocks Yui out by hitting her in the back of her head. The last thing Yui says is to call her big brother before totally losing consciousness. The thug then carries Yui on his shoulder, telling Yuki that he is going to be scolded if he doesn't deliver Yui in a pristine condition. Yuki demands to know why his sister is involved, and the thug replies that this is going to be the case until they win the Olympus Front. Yuki is left confused when he hears this as he has no idea what the Olympus Front is. Yuki begs the thug to wait because he can't lose more precious people. Yuki realizes that once Yui is taken away from him, he will be truly lonely. Out of desperation, he picks the knife on the floor. Yuki is willing to do anything as long as it is for his sister's sake. The thug complains about how he can't get a taste of Yui because he needs to deliver her. However, he starts to get some weird ideas about having a bit of fun with Yui since she is very cute. Suddenly, he hears Yuki behind him. Yuki tells him that he is the one they want, not his sister. Before the thug realizes what is happening, a blow has landed on his face. Yuki grabs Yui away from him and then kicks him in the face. The thug falls to the ground and realizes that Yuki made a desperate move to break the fear he put on him by causing himself pain, using the knife. Yuki's hand is bleeding, but he doesn't care as he declares that he can't lose any more precious people. He then activates the ability borrowing skill. He is confident that with this power, he can definitely protect his family. The thug still cannot believe that Yuki nullified his power with pain, and all he can do is just sit there while Yuki rescues his sister. Yuki then gives the thug a taste of his own medicine by using his power on him. The thug is shocked, asking Yuki how he possibly could use his power. Yuki moves closer to him, telling him that he can never understand how things work. He lets him know that the fear created by his power is nothing compared to that of losing one's family. Yuki then kicks him in the stomach before grabbing his head. Yuki tells the thug to taste what fear means as he smashes his head into the ground. With rage burning in his eyes, Yuki declares that he is going to protect his family. Even if he has no one, he has Yui, and he is ready to protect her. After defeating the thug, information is displayed on the screen. The system acknowledges the fact that Yuki has defeated an ability user. The system then informs Yuki that he can unlock other higher-tier abilities. This shocks Yuki, and he is shown some of the abilities that he can unlock. There is the Black Shadow ability. To acquire this, Yuki has to receive a blade-based ability attack. There is also the Sunglasses ability, and to acquire this, Yuki needs to defeat 5 consecutive opponents with combat status that is above a certain level. The third ability he is shown is the Falsified Documents ability, and to acquire this, he needs to receive an ability attack from 12 gods. Yuki is left to wonder why 3 abilities are suddenly being revealed to him. Yuki then realizes that he is being shown all these because he defeated the thug, who was an ability user, while the others are just regular guys. He wonders if he is going to get different abilities after he takes down ability users. However, he remains baffled by what the 12 gods mean, the conditions surrounding the acquisition of skills, and even the blade-based attack. He is left to question what gods and abilities mean. He then remembers that the thug he just defeated mentioned something about the 12 gods and Olympus Front. He walks over to the guy and wakes him up to ask him what Olympus Front means. Stricken with fear, the dude replies that the 12 gods of Olympus are fighting in the Battle of the Olympus Front. Yuki then asks him if he is one of the 12 gods, and he says no. However, he reveals that Akira is one of the 12 gods. After hearing what he needed to hear, Yuki leaves the guy on the street and carries his sister. As he leaves, he ponders the skill that gives him the chance to borrow other people's abilities. There is one person on his mind as he thinks about this. He returns home, lays his sister on the bed, waiting for her to wake up. Shortly after, his sister wakes up and notices the ring on Yuki's neck. Yuki reveals that it is their father's ring, and he made it into a necklace so he can always wear it around. He did because it is their father's precious keepsake. Yuki remembers that his father always looked strong in front of them. He never showed any sign of weakness in front of the kids, even when he was obviously broken by his wife's death. Yuki's father is always smiling like nothing is wrong. This is all Yuki can remember, his father's smile. But now that smile was taken away by Akira and his gang. Because of Akira and his gang, their entire life was destroyed. To remember everything and what he needs to protect is why Yuki is holding on to the ring. Yuki stares at a picture of his dad and Yui sitting in Yui's room. He comments on the fact that their father always protected them, and even Yui acknowledges this. Now that his father is no more with them, Yuki believes that it is his turn to protect the family. He wants to protect his father's dignity and that of Yui. Not long after this, Yuki leaves the room while his sister is asleep. He is determined to protect Yui, and he also promises himself not to lose no matter how many ability users he goes against. The first person on his list is Akira, as he plans to get his revenge. He plans to use the ability borrowing skill when going up against the big, bad Akira. Meanwhile, Akira is in the school, waiting for his subordinate to return with Yui. Jinta challenges Akira, telling him that he is in Yuki's seat, but Akira doesn't care. He tells Jinta that he is intentionally sitting there. He plans to unalive Yuki and then win the Olympus Front. On his way to the classroom, Yuki is also thinking about the Olympus Front, but he doesn't want to concern himself with that. Everything in his head is how he wants to get revenge and to protect his father's dignity. Yuki arrives at the classroom to find Akira beating Jinta up. Yuki screams his friend's name when he sees how badly Akira has beaten him up. Akira clenches his fist in anger, but Akira just laughs at him. Yuki lets Akira know that he is aware of the fabrication he did, but Akira initially plays dumb. Yuki then continues telling Akira that he was the one who ended his father's life. Akira then starts laughing, and he mocks Yuki, telling him that his father is to be blamed for what happened. Akira then points out that even if what Yuki is saying is the truth, there is nothing he can do about it. Yuki then holds Akira's hand, telling him that he is going to make him bow down and apologize for the things he has done. He then activates the ability borrowing skill. Yuki plans to defeat Akira with his own ability. In a surprising turn of events, Yuki gets hit in the face instead of Akira. Yuki cannot believe that he couldn't get the better of Akira even though he used his borrowing ability. The system then informs Yuki that he cannot hunt the skills of the 12 gods. All this just makes life more stressful for Yuki, and Akira is not about to let him breathe. Akira unleashes a barrage of punches on Yuki while telling him that trying to fight him alone cannot help him. Akira grabs Yuki's head and tells him that no matter how many times he tries, he is not going to defeat him. He smashes Akira's head to the floor, but he is not done with him. He picks him back up, drags him along before throwing him across the room, while telling him that he will forever be a toy to him and his gang. Yuki lands on the floor and his father's ring falls out. Akira spots this, and he aims to smash it. However, Yuki is not about to let Akira defile the last thing he has from his father. He quickly covers the ring, giving Akira the chance to hit his hand instead of the ring. Yuki is determined to sacrifice his life as long as Akira doesn't get the chance to defile the ring. He manages to stand up, and he reminds Akira that his father always protected his family and the town. Yuki then remembers the ability called Falsified Documents. He knows that he is going to get a bit of chance if he can acquire the ability. Yuki wears the ring again and prepares to fight Akira. Yuki doesn't mind what happens to him as long as he gets to protect his father's dignity. Realizing that Yuki is not ready to give up, Akira charges a powerful punch to finish him off. He activates the merciless strong arm, and by using his arms, Akira's damage to the opponent increases by 20%. Yuki can see what is coming for him, but he doesn't falter. He stands right there and lets Akira land the punch to his chest. He screams in pain as the punch lands while Akira makes fun of him. Just then, the system tells Yuki that he has cleared the condition to use falsified documents. With this skill, Yuki can temporarily falsify the enemy's abilities. Yuki is glad he got the power because this is what he has been aiming for. However, to effectively use the new skill, Yuki will have to touch his opponent and then sacrifice a part of himself. Yuki doesn't care about the conditions as long as it gives him the power to take down Akira. While this is going on, other students have learned of the fight. They rush over to the classroom to watch Akira and Yuki go up against each other. Even Yuki knows that the fight he is about to take is the real thing. Akira doesn't feel threatened, and even mocks Yuki for being persistent. On the other hand, Yuki is looking for a way to activate the skill he just acquired. He knows he has to touch Akira as one of the conditions to activate the skill. However, he is baffled by the part where he has to sacrifice his body part. Yuki can figure out if this means he has to lose one of his body parts. While he is thinking of a way out, Akira is there waiting for the right time to finish Yuki off. Realizing that he has no chance, Yuki decides to use a very weird tactic. He dashes away from Akira as he plans to gain the ability to escape first. Once he is some distance away from Akira, Yuki checks his stats to see that his agility has been updated to S rank. He is glad that he has successfully stolen Akira's ability. Akira angrily comes at Yuki for running around after troubling him. However, the agility skill that Yuki just stole comes in clutch. He is able to swiftly dodge Akira's powerful attack. Akira launches more attacks at him, but Yuki easily flies around the room like Spider-Man. He even performs a high jump to fly over Akira. This leaves Akira to wonder what is happening. Yuki finally decides to use the skill called Falsified Documents, and the system tells him that he needs to sacrifice his right eye. Yuki doesn't care about this, as he is ready to give up any part of his body as long as it means defeating Akira. Yuki then leaves himself open for Akira to land a perfect hit to his right eye. Just then, Yuki's right eye turns red, leaving Akira terrified. Yuki tells Akira that his attacks are now useless against him. Akira takes a look at his stats to see that everything is ranked F. Confused about what is happening, Yuki lets Akira know that he has falsified his stats. Yuki mentions that he is just doing the same thing he did to his dad to him. With just one punch, Yuki is able to send Akira flying across the room. Akira cannot believe that Yuki literally sacrificed his right eye so he could get the ability to falsify his stats. Before he knows it, Yuki has come at him again. He hits him so hard that he finds it difficult to move. Yuki then grabs Akira by the collar, revealing that he is to blame for everything that has happened. Without mercy, Yuki smashes him to the ground. Akira starts to bleed and realizes that he is fugged. He starts to apologize, telling Yuki that he was wrong. Yuki doesn't care about Akira's apology, letting him know that there is no way he can forgive him. He still goes ahead to smash his head into the ground just to show how serious he is. Yuki knows that there is no way his father can come back, no matter how much Akira apologizes, but he wants him to admit that he falsely accused his father. Yuki grabs Akira and smashes his head to the ground again. Akira realizes that the pain will not end unless he does what Yuki wants. He quickly confesses, revealing that he fabricated all the allegations against Yuki's father. Yuki is relieved to hear this as he realizes that his father's name has finally been cleared. He knows it might have been too late, but in the end, it came through. Akira can only cry as he figures out that his pursuit of the truth is now complete. At the same time, the falsified documents skill also comes to an end. The system notifies Yuki that the 12th god, Ares' host, has been incapacitated. Akira is shocked to see this, as he still doesn't know what the 12th god means. The system then tells him that he has acquired a skill called the Secret Ninja Bag. This is thanks to the fact that he defeated one of the 12 gods, which has earned him his first victory in the Olympus Front. Yuki sees the Olympus Front again, leaving him confused, but as he wonders what it means, Bandit appears to him, telling him that the Olympus Front is a battle among the gods to decide the new creator. Bandit then urges Yuki to work with him so that they can obtain everything. He calls Yuki his chosen one, leaving Yuki shocked. For Bandit's backstory, he is a demigod born from a human and a god. He lives in a sacred world where only gods are allowed to exist. In this world, only his mother is human, and they have a happy life. Bandit and his mother seems to be very close, and even when Bandit demands that his mother call him God, she just mocks him. She tells him to become a proper god if she wants him to address him as a god. Leaving his home one day, Bandit finds a god, Ares, treating one of the angels like trash, and Bandit intervenes. The god is shocked to hear this as he asks Bandit who he is ordering around. Ares calls Bandit a mere human for not knowing his place, but Bandit is not willing to back down. Ares asks Bandit if he thinks it is fine to challenge a god, but Bandit replies that he has become a god too. Ares then tells him that he is not a proper god since he is of mixed breed. Bandit continues arguing with Ares, but after some time, Ares just walks away, telling Bandit that he has no interest in arguing with a lesser god because it is boring. Ares tells Bandit that something interesting awaits them. Days later, Bandit returns home to find his mother's body lying on the ground. Bandit rushes over to his mother to see that she is still alive, but barely. Bandit's mother apologizes for being human. His mother tells him that it is pretty obvious that he will be ridiculed for having human blood, but she urges him to be kinder god instead. Her final words are for Bandit to be a good god, and with this, she dies in her son's arms. Bandit screams out in tears as he watches his mother die, but there is nothing he can do about it. Later on, the 12 gods are having a meeting when Ares drags Bandit to their midst, telling his comrades that Bandit was eavesdropping on them. The other gods condemn Bandit, telling him that this is not a place for humans to come. Bandit then argues his case, reminding them that he is also like them. He screams that he is a child of a god too, but Ares couldn't care less as he only sees Bandit as a mix of human and a low-tier god. Ares angrily throws Bandit to the floor, telling him not to classify himself as a god. This makes Ares laugh as he considers the human body something he can play with. He considers Bandit a plaything that he can toy with, but this only makes Bandit mad. He screams at Ares, mentioning the fact that he was the one who unalived his mother. Ares doesn't really care, and he still maintains the fact that humans are toys for gods to play with. Rage takes over Bandit and he angrily dashes at Ares, but Ares is way above his league as he easily dodges his attack. Ares appears behind Bandit, smashing his head to the ground. Ares tells Bandit to be quiet because he is nothing more than a toy. Realizing that Ares is going too far, the other gods tell him to stop, reminding him that a sacred battle is about to begin. Ares tells his fellow gods that Bandit is claiming to be a god, which is why they need to deal with him. One of the gods then tells Ares to leave Bandit alone because the Olympus Front is upon them, and Bandit can use the opportunity to fight his heart out. Ares hears this and laughs, agreeing that the plan is good. Ares decides that they are going to use one human as a host. In the battle, they are going to kill each other to decide a new creator from among the 12 gods. Ares then assures Bandit that he is going to kill him as a god in Olympus Front. With this, the sacred and cruel battle to determine the creator begins. Bandit hears this and agrees to participate. Bandit swears to avenge his mother, no matter how painful or cruel the battle is. Bandit promises to make a world where there is no unreasonable god like Ares. The other gods laugh when they hear this, making fun of Bandit for getting way ahead of himself. Once the battle is set, Bandit chose Yuki to be his host in the battle against the other gods. Bandit smiles after telling Yuki all he needs to know, but Yuki can only scream because he knows what is waiting ahead for him. After hearing why Bandit chose him as his host, he asks him if he changed his appearance. and Bandit reveals that he is currently maintaining the easiest form he can in the mortal world. Yui enters the room to tell her brother that food is ready, and he shouldn't force himself to school since he just defeated Akira. Yuki tells Yui that he is fine since he has been able to get the revenge he wanted. However, Yuki is now wearing an eye patch as he sacrificed his eye during the battle. After beating Akira up, he had him confess everything he did in front of the camera. Akira was then charged in court with defamation through fabrication. His father's case was also cleared, and in turn, Yuki returned his father's dignity. Yuki doesn't see any problem with losing one eye, and Bandit calls him a problem for that. However, Yuki doesn't care what it costs him as long as he is able to avenge his father. Jinta even asks him if he is fine, and he replies that he is good. Jinta is really worried about his friend, but Yuki is just smiling like nothing is wrong. Bandit then tells him that it is nice that he is enjoying himself, but lets him know that the Olympus Front is far from over. However, Bandit doesn't think the Battle of the 12 Gods is his concern. Jinta hears this and gets curious. Apparently, Jinta knows about the 12 Gods. Yuki asks him if he likes the 12 Gods, and Jinta says yes. Jinta knows that the 12 Gods are the different lords governing various domains. There is Poseidon, who governs the sea. There is Hephaestus, who governs fire and smithing. There is Demeter, who is in charge of fertility. There is also the most popular Zeus, who is considered to be omnipotent. Jinta lets Yuki know that there are several other lords, and he is willing to give Yuki a book to read about them. Jinta dashes out of the room to go and get the book, and Bandit tells Yuki that those who are after him might attack any time. In addition to this, it is a battle to the death. Each lord has special abilities and their host's life is on the line. Bandit lets Yuki know that the people he is going against won't hesitate to use brutal means against him. Hearing this, Yuki gets scared that he will have to sacrifice his entire body by the time he is done. Bandit admits that the ability is powerful, but urges Yuki not to use it again. Yuki asks him why, and Bandit explains that losing an eye in combat can be fatal. Bandit proves his point by punching Yuki from his blind spot. Yuki realizes that Bandit is right, and he asks Bandit what he can do. Yuki then talks about the secret ninja bag that he got from defeating Akira. The bag is an infinitely producing bag that can hold anything. Yuki has tried putting weapons in the bag, but he knows even with the weapons he has no chance. Bandit agrees to what Yuki is saying, but this leaves Yuki going through the ability chart to see if there is something that can be useful. He then sees the sunglasses skill, which has the malicious voyeurism ability. With this, he can read the opponent's mind, but he can only acquire it by defeating 5 opponents consecutively. Yuki then sits down to think about everything so far, and he concludes that the battle is no longer his concern. Yuki has achieved his revenge that he so badly wanted. Yuki returns home to find his sister cleaning off one of the cruel things that the bullies painted on the house wall. Yui is also happy that the allegations against their father were nothing but a lie. Yuki then joins her so that they can both clean off the writings. Once they are out of detergent, Yui steps out to go and get more. Yuki tells her to be careful, and she acknowledges this. Yuki smiles, knowing well that he has cleared his father's false accusation. Everything in Yuki's head is that he can finally get his family's life back. This is what Yuki believes until he is called to come and check the lifeless body of his sister in the morgue. Yuki falls down on his knees, crying beside his sister's body, and he declares that his battle is far from over yet. Yuki falls into depression, but while sleeping, he suddenly sees Yui in his dream. Yui is burning in the fire, and she is begging Yuki for help. Yuki wakes up in horror and the sad realization that his sister is truly dead. What he feared the most has finally happened to him, and this is living his life alone with no family. 10 days later, Yuki puts on the hood to start investigating his sister's death. He has been going to the police station every day, but the detective in charge, Hasegawa, tells Yuki that there is no progress. In addition to this, the detective lets him know that they cannot share information with civilians. Yuki has tried several times but hasn't gotten anything useful. Even though he keeps hitting the wall, Yuki is not ready to give up yet. Yuki's determination to find the culprit is higher than before. Yuki then asks Bandit if the culprit is one of the 12 gods. Bandit replies that he is not sure, but the possibility of being one of them is quite high. Bandit then asks Yuki if he is going to fight no matter who the opponent is, and he says yes. Yuki is ready to take down whoever took his sister from him. However, the first thing he wants to do is get information. He soon finds 5 thugs in an alley. He approaches the thugs and realizes that their combat level is ranked D. In addition to this, there are 5, which means he can get the sunglass ability by taking them down. The thugs stare at Yuki with the intent to beat him up, but unknown to them, this is Yuki's plan for them too. Yuki is glad that he has finally found himself in a space where he can clear the conditions set to acquire the ability. When Yuki touched the detective from earlier, he was able to take his A-ranked combat ability, and he plans to use this against the thugs. The first thug comes rushing at Yuki, but Yuki easily throws him off balance by dodging his punch and kicking his foot. This gets the rest of the gang angry, and they promise not to hold back against Yuki. Yuki admits that going against multiple enemies at once is troublesome, and he relies on his dodging skills. Even the second thug is frustrated as he tells Yuki to stop darting around. However, Yuki soon grants his wish by delivering a powerful punch to his face. With this, the thug is taken down and the system notifies him that one of 5 opponents has been taken down. The next thug comes rushing at Yuki, but the situation ends the same way. One of the goons then picks up a box and throws it at Yuki, but he dodges easily. Yuki then takes out the next goon, making it the third guy. The thugs have still not learned their lesson, as another comes rushing, but Yuki delivers a blow to his neck to finish him off. With this, Yuki has just one more opponent to take down to clear the conditions. The last guy is the strongest and he is standing right behind Yuki. He comes at Yuki, but Yuki is just too strong for him. Yuki dodges his blow and grabs him by the jaw and smashes his head into the ground, thus successfully taking down the 5 thugs. The system then notifies him that he has cleared the condition and has been granted the ability. After taking down the goons, Bandit lets Yuki know that he understands his feelings, but he is worried that Yuki is going too far with his methods. Yuki then tells Bandit that he is ready to do anything as long as it gets him closer to finding who eliminated his sister. Yuki stands above the defeated thugs as the new ability, malicious voyeurism, is added to his collection of skills. Yuki knows that with the new ability, he can easily gather information and use that to find the culprit. Yuki then begins with the first thing on his table, which is to gather information. He heads back to the police station to talk to the detective in charge. The detective is still thinking about how difficult the case is when he spots Yuki in the distance. Hasegawa tells Yuki that he understands how he feels, but lets him know that no matter how many times he comes to the station to ask about the case, he can't tell him anything. Yuki doesn't even argue with the detective, and he just goes ahead to activate the mind-reading skill. However, he needs to ask the target a question to get the chance to read their mind. Yuki then asks the detective why he won't tell him the cause of his sister's death, and the detective replies that this is protocol. However, Yuki asking the detective a question has activated the skill. He is then able to see what the detective is thinking. Apparently, Yui was killed using a sharp blade that was pushed into her abdomen. Yuki then asks another question, and this time, he wants to know where his sister was killed. The detective apologizes but lets Yuki know that he can't say it. In his mind, he is already answering Yuki's question. It turns out that Yui was found in the vacant lot on 3rd Street. Hearing this, Yuki figures out that there will be clues in the street. Yuki immediately heads to the crime scene where he finds a police officer there. He asks the officer if an incident occurred in the area, and he also wants to know what kind of incident it was. The officer replies that he can't discuss the details of the case. However, Yuki is able to read the officer's mind using the skill. He learns that the detectives can't find any clues at the crime scene, which makes it very strange. Yuki realizes that he is at the right place. But the situation surrounding the events is quite bizarre since such a brutal incident didn't leave any clues behind. Since the detective in charge was not even able to find anything, Yuki figures out that the culprit is definitely not human. He is in the middle of his thoughts when he is suddenly attacked by a guy named Tetsuya. Yuki manages to dodge the spear attack from Tetsuya. Tetsuya commends Yuki for dodging the attack since his combat ability is quite low. Yuki, on the other hand, wonders why the guy is coming after him. Suddenly he notices that the guy is holding a spear, and with what he learned from the detective, his sister was terminated using a sharp blade. In addition to the fact that there were no clues, it simply means that the culprit is not an ordinary human. Yuki burns with rage when he realizes that the ability user who eliminated his sister is standing right in front of him. Tetsuya just smiles while not directly giving an answer to the question. He tells Yuki to defeat him if he wants to know the truth. Yuki realizes that it is going to be a difficult task to take down a spear user. Yuki figures out that he needs to dodge the spear if he is even going to get the chance to defeat Tetsuya. Yuki dodges the first attack and tries to touch Tetsuya to steal his ability, but the guy already knows about this, and he easily prevents Yuki from touching him. Tetsuya tells Yuki that he has no chance against him as long as he is not able to reach him. Tetsuya then launches a counterattack by hitting Yuki on the back with his spear. Yuki falls to the ground, but Tetsuya doesn't stop coming after him. The attacks are so cruel that Yuki starts coughing up blood. Tetsuya backs off a bit with the disappointment that Yuki is Bandit's host. He is not getting any resistance from Yuki, which makes him look very weak. Even the god using Tetsuya as a guardian laughs at how weak Bandit is. While lying on the ground, Bandit asks Yuki if he is fine, and he says yes. Surprisingly, Yuki has managed to gain another ability while Tetsuya was beating him up. Yuki has acquired the Shadow Dance by receiving a blade attack using his abilities. With this skill, Yuki will be able to manipulate shadows. All that is left for Yuki is to find a way to use the skill in his current situation. While Yuki is trying to figure out a way, Tetsuya is already charging toward him. Yuki knows he has no choice but to do something, and he immediately activates the shadow dance. Tetsuya is shocked when he realizes that Yuki now has a new ability. Even Tetsuya's host god agrees that they are in a mess. Yuki conjures a shadow and it moves close to Tetsuya. Tetsuya is worried about this until the shadow moves through him with no damage. Tetsuya laughs at the fact that the shadow has no offensive capabilities. Even Yuki is now stressed as he has no idea how to use the shadow skill to his advantage. Tetsuya's host god makes fun of Bandit and Yuki because of how weak the ability is. Yuki then asks Bandit about the god that they are facing. Bandit reveals that his name is Alictyron and he is mentally weak, half-hearted, and unable to become a higher god. Apparently, lords choose guardians who are similar to them in nature. In return, the guardians also inherit the god's weaknesses. Upon hearing this, Yuki realizes that he has found a way out. He plans to exploit Alictyron's weaknesses and use this against Tetsuya. With this new development, Yuki believes that he has a slight chance of coming out victorious. Yuki then asks Bandit how freely he can move the shadows. Bandit then reveals that the shadow's size and the way it moves all depend on the caster. Even the ability and range are proportional to the caster's mental strength. To put it simply, Yuki can swallow a whole building using the shadow as long as he puts his mind into it. Suddenly, Tetsuya notices a shadow wall behind him, leaving him to start wondering what Yuki's game plan is. Since Yuki has something dangerous that he is planning, Tetsuya wants to finish him off before it comes to fruition. Unknown to Tetsuya, Yuki is planning to take the incoming attack as long as it gives him the chance to activate the technique that he wants to use. Tetsuya comes dashing at Yuki with his spear, but Yuki refuses to move, and he gets hit. Tetsuya is shocked when he sees this. He realizes that Yuki deliberately refused to move. Yuki then smiles at Tetsuya, telling him that he has finally fallen into his trap. Yuki grabs Tetsuya and activates the Dark World ability. Yuki then goes ahead to seal the space, leaving them trapped in a wall of shadows. Tetsuya is horrified as he stares into the dark nothingness. He also realizes that Yuki has pulled out the spear and has disappeared. Since humans get 80% of their information from what they see, Yuki has essentially left Tetsuya with just 20% of that information. Tetsuya will have no choice but to fight him at a disadvantage. However, Tetsuya refuses to be underestimated. He activates his skill called the Radiance Spear Flash. Tetsuya starts spinning his spear around while telling Yuki that the technique has no blind spots. Yuki just smiles, telling Tetsuya that he has no intentions of attacking him. He tells Tetsuya that he is on a quest to avenge his dead sister. Since Tetsuya is the culprit, Yuki plans to lock him in the dark hell forever. Tetsuya is shocked when he hears Yuki talk about locking him up forever, and he decides that he is going to leave. Tetsuya figures out that the ability was activated in an open space, and considering the distance between the walls from earlier, Tetsuya figures out that it is in a 5-meter radius. After putting all of these together, Tetsuya plans to sprint out of there in no time. Minutes later, Tetsuya is still running, and he is now tired. He realizes that he's been running for a long time, but he hasn't made it out of the enclosure. Alictyron screams at Tetsuya, telling him to quickly find a way out of the situation. Tetsuya screams back at him, asking him if he has no ability that they can use to escape. Since people tend to lose their minds in a dark space, the effect is already bearing down on the two. Tetsuya is even more worried about the fact that he can't see Yuki. Suddenly, Yuki appears behind him, and he uses the ability borrowing skill to hunt Tetsuya's Radiant Spear Flash. Before Tetsuya can even react, a barrage of blows lands on him. Tetsuya is left with the question of how Yuki can possibly see him. This is not the end of his worries, as he has lost his spear too. Suddenly, Tetsuya's hand gets pierced by the spear's blade. Yuki reveals that he is able to see Tetsuya by manipulating his shadow, and with this, he can see his location and movements pretty clearly. Yuki then asks Tetsuya how it feels that he is about to be killed using his own spear. At this time, Alictyron and Tetsuya are already freaking out because they can't believe that a demigod like Bandit can turn out to be so strong. Alictyron tells Tetsuya to do something, but everything in Tetsuya's head is how he is going to run away. As he is crawling away, Yuki appears before him, telling him that there is no chance for an escape. Yuki lets Tetsuya know that the pain he caused his sister is nothing compared to what he is currently feeling. Yuki then hits Tetsuya with the spear, leaving him screaming his lungs out. However, Yuki is also injured from the fatal attack he deliberately took earlier. Yuki then asks Tetsuya if he was the one who killed Yui. Tetsuya admits that he is the one, but in reality, he is not the culprit. Using the mind-reading skill, Yuki figures out that Tetsuya is covering for a god named Hephaestus. Hephaestus has ordered Tetsuya to take the blame for Yui's death. Tetsuya repeatedly tells Yuki that he is the one who terminated Yui, just to make sure that Hephaestus's involvement is concealed. Suddenly, the system notifies Yuki that his mind-reading skills have leveled up. With this new development, Yuki can see images in his target's head once he touches them. Yuki is surprised by the sudden level up, but the development came at the right time. He touches Tetsuya's body, and with this, he is able to get a look at what Hephaestus looks like. Hephaestus is a big guy with a mustache, and Yuki sees that he is the real culprit. Yuki realizes that the next step in his plan is to find Hephaestus. He then deactivates the shadow wall, leaving Tetsuya's bloodied body on the street. Soon afterward, Yuki wakes up in a hospital. He wakes up from a dream where he sees his sister. The terrible feeling of his sister's death is overcome by the pain of the stab wound in his stomach. He touches his stomach and remembers the wound he got from being attacked by Tetsuya. However, he is still confused as he has no idea where he is. Just then, Detective Hasegawa enters the room, expressing his shock that Yuki has finally regained consciousness. The detective reveals that Yuki was brought to the hospital after an anonymous call. This surprises Yuki, and he asks the detective if there was someone else brought into the hospital, and the detective says no. Yuki is left to wonder what happened to Tetsuya. He doesn't want to believe that Tetsuya somehow managed to escape. Yuki then asks the detective how the case on his sister is going. As expected, the detective tells Yuki that he can't divulge details of the investigation to civilians. However, Yuki is able to read the detective's mind, and he finds out that the cops have gotten new information on the case. Realizing that this might be progress, Yuki deceives the detective by telling him that there is something on his shoulder. He then touches Hasegawa's shoulder to get an idea of the new information that was discovered. Yuki sees the cops talking about Yui's case and the murder weapon. Even though the weapon has not been found, the weapon's components were identified from the wound on the corpse. And the one who recently purchased large quantities of iron containing those components is Omori Metal Factory on 4th Street. Seeing that Omori Metal Factory is a factor in the case, Yuki figures out his next target. The detective realizes that Yuki is acting weird, and he assumes that he needs rest. He then decides to leave so that Yuki can rest. However, Yuki is not ready to rest or even allow his wounds to heal. He gets out of the hospital and makes his way to Omori Metal Factory. Bandit urges Yuki not to do something stupid because his wounds are not healed yet. In addition to this, they don't even know how powerful their opponent is. Yuki doesn't believe that the level of pain he is suffering from his injury can be compared to the one Yui went through. Yui's disfigured face flashes through Yuki's head, making him even angrier. Suddenly, Yuki and Bandit hear a weird sound coming from inside the factory. Bandit tells Yuki to be careful since they have no idea what ability their opponent will possess. They soon find themselves standing in front of a blacksmith, who has been waiting for them to show up. The blacksmith is the big guy Yuki saw in Tetsuya's head. Surprisingly, there is a statue behind the blacksmith, and when Yuki gets a better look, he realizes that the statue has Yui's face. The blacksmith smiles when he knows that Yuki has recognized one of his artworks. This gets Yuki mad, and he dashes toward the blacksmith even though Bandit warns him to take caution. The blacksmith activates his skill, the flame smithing, and hits Yuki with a fire attack. Yuki is shocked that he is facing off against a flame user. Yuki has no way to dodge the attack and gets fatally wounded. To make things worse, the blacksmith aimed for the side of the stomach where he was injured. The blacksmith makes fun of Yuki for coming to fight him when he was wounded. Apparently, the blacksmith's host is Hephaestus, the fire god. Hephaestus then tells him that he has no interest in wounded beasts. He spares Yuki and tells him to come back when he is in perfect condition. However, the blacksmith still decides to hit Yuki with another fire attack, leaving him badly burned. Yuki manages to crawl out of the building with his body charred. In his current condition, there is no way he is going to survive, but as he slowly loses consciousness, a girl appears beside him and mutters some healing words. Later on, Yuki wakes up in what seems to be a girl's room. He is shocked, and while he is still looking around to figure out where he is, he realizes that his injuries have healed. Just then, a schoolgirl, Rika, enters the room smiling at Yuki. She is glad that Yuki is finally awake and she greets him. Yuki is left in total shock to see this. Just then, Rika's host god screams at her, telling her to properly heal Yuki. She points out that Yuki is not completely healed, and she needs to put in her best. Yuki is still confused about the whole situation. But Bandit recognizes the god, and he calls her Demeter. Demeter is one of the 12 gods, and she is the one in charge of fertility. Immediately, Yuki gets defensive, believing that Demeter is also out to get him. Suddenly, Rika starts using the healing spell on him again, and his wounds that have not completely healed start to heal much better. Yuki is still wary of Rika, but Bandit tells him to put his guard down, telling him that Demeter is the only god out of the 12 gods who actually cares about humans. He tells Yuki that he can trust Demeter and the girl. Demeter then tells Yuki that she is going to explain the details of everything to him later. However, she wants Yuki to trust Rika and let her heal his wounds. After Rika is done, Yuki is left in awe by how amazing Rika's healing skills are. On the other hand, Demeter is scolding Rika for not being able to completely heal all of Yuki's wounds even after 2 trials. Rika replies that she is doing her best while also reminding Demeter that she is not a god like her. The two continue screaming at each other while Yuki just sits there in confusion. When Yuki finally intervenes, he asks the two why they helped him. Rika replies that helping people is a natural thing for her. Demeter supports her point by telling Yuki that they don't abandon people in need of help. However, Bandit is not a fool, and he knows that this is not the only reason why Demeter helped them. He points out the fact that they are currently having a battle where there can only be one winner. Demeter then agrees to the fact that they are at an overwhelming disadvantage in the battle. Rika holds Yuki's hand and begs him to fight alongside them. Yuki is left with just one question, and that is why. To answer his question, Rika takes Yuki outside. Rika shows Yuki her power by making the plants in the area grow bigger. Yuki is impressed by this, and Demeter reveals that her ability maximizes life force. Basically, their ability has no offensive side to it, which means there is no means for them to attack whoever tries to harm them. This is why Rika wants Yuki to fight by their side. She bows her head to Yuki, and Bandit urges Yuki to accept. Yuki hesitates, and Bandit tells him to use his mind-reading skills to know if Rika's intentions are pure. Yuki then looks through Rika's mind, where he is able to find out that she holds no hostility toward him. All Rika and Demeter want is a way to take down the blacksmith. Yuki then realizes that he has been all alone since his sister died. He has been fighting all by himself all this time. Since Yuki doesn't want anyone else to die, he decides that he is going to protect Rika. He then accepts the deal, and he stretches his hands to Rika, telling her to take care of him. Rika is very happy to hear this, and she smiles while telling Yuki to also take care of them. Now that they have come to an agreement, Yuki knows that the next thing is to find a way to defeat the blacksmith. And to beat the blacksmith, he wants to get a new ability. He remembers that the blacksmith uses a wall fire, and getting close is going to be a huge problem. In addition to this, Hephaestus seems to be stronger than all the gods he has taken on so far. He wonders if Hephaestus even has a weakness that he can exploit. Just then, Yuki takes note of the secret ninja bag skill. With this skill, Yuki believes that he has what it takes to win in a battle against the blacksmith. Later on, the blacksmith is seen in the factory reaching out to one of his customers about the weapon he made for them. The blacksmith is not happy that the client is showing no sign of gratitude for his expertise. He is in the middle of his crash out when Yuki and Rika show up. The blacksmith is shocked to see Yuki alive. He gives him credit for being a spirited individual, but Yuki doesn't see it as spirit, but luck. Demeter then tells Rika that the god they are looking at is Hephaestus, the god of fire. Surprisingly, the whole room is filled with the blacksmith's collection. Fire engulfs the collection board, and the people there start to scream. Rika, Yuki, and their hosts are left horrified by what they are staring at. They can't figure out if the screams they are hearing are from real humans or from the artworks created by the evil blacksmith. The blacksmith then reveals that his weapon preserves the lives that it has taken. The blacksmith is aware that Demeter hates battles, and he mocks her for coming into a conflict zone. Even though Demeter is not a violent person, the blacksmith is not ready to show her mercy. He compares the situation to a match filled with sacrifices. However, Yuki is not convinced by this as he tells the blacksmith that the victims are only caught up in the gods' battle. The blacksmith is mad that Yuki is not taking the Olympus Front too seriously. He reveals that the winner of the battle is going to obtain something great. This shocks Yuki since he has no idea what the blacksmith is talking about. Hephaestus laughs at Yuki when he figures out that Bandit has not yet told him what he stands to gain if he wins the battle. Bandit then tells Yuki that he should not focus on what he just heard because it is not something he can tell him just yet. Yuki also agrees with Bandit since he came there to know more about Yuki's death. The blacksmith arrogantly tells Yuki that he has no idea which of his victims he is talking about since there are too many to keep track of now. Yuki then tells Rika to stick to the plan that they have. Since he cannot steal the abilities of the 12 gods, winning in the battle against the blacksmith might prove difficult. Yuki then decides to make a daring run by touching the blacksmith and looking into his brain directly to get the information that he needs. However, the blacksmith is confident that Yuki cannot reach him, let alone touch him. The blacksmith turns the floor to fire, but Yuki manages to dodge the attack while aiming for the blacksmith. Yuki already anticipated that the blacksmith could manipulate fire, and by this he was already prepared. However, the blacksmith still catches him off guard, and he knocks Yuki to the ground with his fiery hammer. Lying on the floor, Yuki tries to touch the blacksmith, but he quickly jumps back. Yuki already suspected the fact that the blacksmith is an experienced combat master. The way the blacksmith talks and shows off reveals that he is experienced. Rika rushes over to the wounded Yuki, and Yuki comes to the conclusion to use the blacksmith's confidence against him. Yuki then begs Rika to stay behind him because he plans to touch the blacksmith no matter what it takes. Yuki is aware that the odds are pretty bad, but with Rika's powers, he believes that he can pull through. Yuki then taunts the blacksmith about his firepower. He tells the blacksmith that he would like to see how strong his firepower is against his endurance. Yuki wants them to have a competition on which is stronger. Rika considers this act of Yuki a reckless one, but Yuki knows what he is doing. Even though the plan is very risky, he knows that the blacksmith will definitely take on a direct confrontation, and this is where he needs Rika to continue using her ability. The blacksmith is prepared to show Yuki what it really means to hold the power behind fire. As Yuki walks toward him, the guy launches a powerful fire attack at him. The fire is so intense that the blacksmith expects Yuki to burn to smithereens, but fortunately, Yuki is being healed by Rika. Rika maintains the recovery ability, giving Yuki the time to get closer to the blacksmith. As this continues, the flames keep getting hotter, and Rika fears that her treatment won't be able to keep up. Even though the odds are against him, Yuki continues moving. He is not ready to die yet, as long as he hasn't found out what the truth is. Yuki plans to stay alive until he finds out what the truth is. Just as Yuki gets closer, the blacksmith hits him with his hammer. However, Yuki has gotten close enough, and he screams at Rika to do what they planned. Suddenly, the blacksmith realizes that he can't move his body. Yuki smiles evilly while letting the blacksmith know that he is going to have his revenge. The blacksmith suddenly realizes that his body is covered in tree branches, preventing him from moving. Rika's ability isn't just recovery, but it also has the power to activate all life. As long as Rika's stamina lasts, she can keep up the ability. Using her ability, she can even reproduce an entire rainforest. Now that the blacksmith is trapped, Yuki tells him that it is his time to become an artwork. However, the blacksmith is not worried about this. He tells Rika and Yuki that they can't seal him with mere branches, and as long as his hammer hits the ground, he can ignite fire. Fire engulfs the area again, and the blacksmith lets them know that all he has to do is burn away the branches holding him back. In a turn of events, it seems Rika and Yuki have already made plans in case something like this happens. They have prepared something that the blacksmith is weak against, and this is water. To counter the amazing firepower of the blacksmith, Yuki unleashes his trump card. He tells Rika to get back, and then he activates the secret ninja bag. Inside the bag, Yuki had already stored a large volume of water. He releases the water and it hits the blacksmith. The force from the water is too much and it sweeps the blacksmith away. He loses his hammer and is unable to create fire. Rika then uses her power to pull Yuki away before he is swept away by the water. Yuki turns back and smiles at how amazing Rika is. Yuki is ready to win the battle no matter what strategy he employs. After the water subsides, the blacksmith is seen lying down weakly. Yuki stands in front of the blacksmith, letting him know that he is never going to forgive those who took Yui away from him. Yuki then touches the blacksmith to get information from him. He looks through the guy's memories and realizes that he made a weapon for someone. The weapon seems to be very powerful, and the person he made it for is none other than Poseidon. In a twist of things, Poseidon has completely taken over his host's body, given him full autonomy. In the memories Yuki is looking at, he realizes that even Hephaestus and the blacksmith don't want to fight Poseidon, as he seems like a very dangerous god. Poseidon promises to keep the blacksmith alive as long as his skills don't deteriorate. With his new weapon, the trident, Poseidon leaves to hunt down other gods and humans alike. Yuki is shocked to see that Poseidon was the one who killed Yui, not the blacksmith. The only difference is that the blacksmith was connected to Poseidon since he was the one who made a weapon for him. Yuki tells Rika what he learned, but this leaves the question of where Poseidon is. Yuki lets his guard down, and the blacksmith suddenly stands up. He lunges at Yuki with the intention of killing him, but just then, Poseidon's voice echoes from behind. He tells the blacksmith that he is no longer needed. Poseidon appears with a dark aura, leaving everyone scared. He killed the blacksmith from behind, telling him that he had served his purpose. With a dark and terrifying aura around him, Poseidon mentions that he no longer needs the blacksmith. Poseidon then turns his attention to Yuki and Rika. He easily figures out that the two are hosts to some gods. Yuki, on the other hand, is wondering why Poseidon is there. Bandit perceives the immense danger and tells Yuki. He lets Yuki know that they are in the presence of the strongest god, Poseidon. Demeter also figures out that Poseidon has taken over his host's personality. Yuki then asks Poseidon if he was the one who killed Yui. Poseidon just stands there arrogantly, asking Yuki if he said something. Yuki continues by saying Yui is his sister, but Poseidon still acts dumb. Yuki gets mad with the responses he is getting. Poseidon then tells Yuki that there is no way for him to remember the particular person he is talking about, since he has killed a lot. Yuki angrily dashes at Poseidon, telling him that he is going to force him to remember. However, his blow doesn't even land. Realizing that he can't hit Poseidon, he decides to take a look at his memory. He activates the mind-reading skill, and he touches Poseidon. In Poseidon's memory, he sees Poseidon standing in front of Yui. Yui accidentally walks into an alley where Poseidon is unaliving people, and because of this, Poseidon turns his attention to her. In her dying moment, all the girl was asking for was her big brother. Yuki is horrified by what he just saw. Poseidon has not only taken Yui's life, but also the lives of countless people. Poseidon gets mad that Yuki is standing in front of him, and he tries to impale him out of anger. Fortunately, Rika is able to use her ability to hold the trident down. Rika then tells Yuki that their best course of action is to run away. She tells Yuki that her abilities won't hold off for long. Yuki hesitates because he is blinded by revenge, but Bandit lets him know that they need to run since they have no chance against Poseidon. He tells Yuki that Rika's safety should be his top priority. Yuki reluctantly agrees with Bandit, and the team gets out of there before they are killed by the big bad Poseidon. Back at the house, Rika treats Yuki's wounds. Rika then asks Demeter if the gods feel no affection towards people. Demeter reveals that there are gods who see nothing wrong with terminating humans. Bandit then mentions the fact that Poseidon doesn't care about humans. The only thing he cares about is standing at the top of all gods. Hearing this, Yuki says he has no choice but to make Poseidon understand. He is determined to eliminate Poseidon and make him atone for Yui's death. However, the first thing he plans to do is to gather information. Yuki then invites Jinta to the house. Jinta is shy about being in a girl's room, but Rika tells him to feel comfortable. Jinta then asks about Bandit and Demeter, the floating guys that he is looking at. Bandit replies that they are gods. However, Yuki is shocked that Jinta can see the two. Bandit then explains that gods can choose who can visually see them. It finally dawns on Yuki how the entire thing works. Even with this, Yuki doesn't know if Jinta is going to believe what he is about to tell him. Shockingly, Jinta believes, and he is even excited. He has always believed that the gods existed. Yuki then talks to him about his knowledge of the gods. Since Jinta knows all about them, he wants to know if there is a god who can defeat Poseidon. Jinta then drops the shocker, telling Yuki that there is no god in existence who can stand up to Poseidon's power.